Every day in Britain, more than 100 child abuse images crimes are recorded by the police. Behind every statistic is a child with a life interrupted, a trust betrayed, in bedrooms, online chats, and social networks. Predators seek out the most vulnerable, from technology that allows abuse to flourish, to institutions that have repeatedly failed to act. The threat to children is just one part of a pattern that affects society as a whole. Today, we explore the scale of abuse, how they abuse, and the cultural factors that enable it. Child sexual abuse and exploitation is a complex and pervasive problem. It includes physical abuse, online exploitation, grooming, and the creation and distribution of illegal images. In England and Wales alone, around 115,000 offences were recorded in 2023. The National Crime Agency estimates that between 700 and 800,000 adults in the UK pose some form of sexual risk to children. That is over 1% of the population. These numbers only scratch the surface. Many cases go unreported, victims are silenced by fear or shame, because abuse often takes place within trusted relationships like in families, schools, and work. The consequences for children are severe. Victims may face lifelong psychological trauma, difficulty forming relationships, and challenges in education and work. Yet despite the scale of the problem, societal awareness and institutional action have historically lagged behind. Take the story of 12-year-old Samina Halliwell, who killed herself by overdosing on her mother's prescription after she reported to the police that she had been sexually assaulted, but felt as if she was not believed or heard. And this is not the first time the system has failed us on protecting those who are vulnerable. So how do these predators manage to do this so often and get away with it so easily? Well, firstly, we have the power of social media, where anyone can be anything and hide behind a screen while causing real damage. And secondly, we have organizations, big and small, who groom younger people. Let's begin with the crazy world of social media. Children as young as 8 years old are on various apps, innocently posting pictures of themselves, sometimes exposing their location, friends, and ultimately themselves to predators who may pose as something that may pique their interest, such as a younger person wants to be friends or a company who wants to gift them something. 7,000 grooming offences were reported in 2023 to 2024, an 89% increase from 2018. Reports of AI-generated sexual abuse material have surged by 400% in 2025. Then we have probably the most scariest, organizations or gangs that work in real life in real communities to groom and assault women. Not too long ago, a gang was sentenced to 35 years in prison in Rochdale for using their shop as a cover-up for a place where he would sell alcohol, drugs, and gifts in exchange for sex. These girls were as young as 13 years old. This gang was very structured, with their ringleader being Mohammed Zahid, who'd overseen the operation, and everyone else had their roles, such as getting the drugs or alcohol, or luring women in, and also targeting girls in schools. Even though this is a success that they were taken off the streets, these crimes took place over 20 years ago, and those victims, who are now over 30 years old, have had to live with that with no justice. We also have bigger organizations. As we all know by now, Jeffrey Epstein was a mysterious financial advisor who hosted parties with underage girls with the elites from all over the world. He leveraged his position as a famous consultant to be able to groom girls and use his relationships to convince them that he can get them different jobs and would abuse that prospect for his twisted desires. This organization was international, but was run by a British socialite, Ghislaine Maxwell, who had had a good relationship with the most powerful people in the UK. One of the most overlooked enablers of abuse in the UK is the chronic underfunding of child protection services. Social workers, safeguarding teams, and child mental health professionals are on the front lines of preventing harm, yet the systems meant to protect our most vulnerable are dangerously overstretched. Since 2010, local councils in England have faced a 50% cut in central government funding, leading to the closure of 1,000 children's centres and severe staffing shortages. In 2023, it was reported that some social workers were handling caseloads of 30 to 40 children, more than double the recommended safe limit. More than 80,000 children in England were referred to social care last year, but received no support. Not because the risks weren't real, but because services lacked the resources to respond. Abuse does not stop with childhood. Many women and some men face sexual violence and harassment throughout their lives. Statistics show that approximately 1 in 4 women and 1 in 20 women in the UK experience sexual assault at some point. Conviction rates remain low, with less than 2% of reported sexual assaults leading to a conviction. In 2021, the story of Sarah Everard shook the UK. A 33-year-old marketing executive disappeared in London in March 2021 while walking home from a friend's house. Wayne Cousins, a serving Metropolitan Police officer, used his position to falsely arrest her under COVID-19 regulations in his fake undercover car. He handcuffed her, abducted her, and later sexually assaulted her, eventually killing her. Cousins then attempted to dispose of the body. Her remains were later found in a woodland in Kent. The case sparked outrage in the UK, but the real letdown of the story was the fact that Wayne Cousins was not already in jail before Sarah Everard was murdered, because Wayne had already committed different offences of different sex crimes, but had not been held accountable. So this leads me to the point that does the UK have a culture of not holding these criminals to account? More recently, in the news, Hadush Kabatu, who sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl, was only sentenced to 12 months in prison. We also have the case of Jimmy Savile, who rubbed shoulders with the elite of the UK, but was a child predator, and powers like the BBC seem to turn a blind eye because of his success. Snapchat, one of the most popular apps among British teenagers, is built on the premise of disappearing messages. The concept is simple. You send a photo or message, and after a few seconds, it vanishes. No record, no trace, no consequence. But for predators, this design is not a safety feature, it's an opportunity. According to data from the NSPCC, nearly half of all child grooming offences in the UK where a platform was known involved Snapchat. That means tens of thousands of young people, many under age 13. Predators often begin innocently enough. They send a funny meme, a compliment, or a friend request pretending to be a peer. Once a child trusts them, the tone changes. The conversation moves to private messages. Requests for images begin, and before long, a young person is being manipulated into sending explicit content. Many believe that these images will disappear forever, but that's rarely the case. Screenshots, screen recordings, and third-party apps can capture everything permanently. Once that happens, the same image that was sent in trust becomes a weapon. Offenders threaten to expose, humiliate, or blackmail their victims unless they comply with further demands. Telegram represents something darker. Telegram hosts millions of public and private channels, some with hundreds of thousands of members. These channels were meant for communities, fan groups, and activism, but many have become hijacked for far more sinister purposes. Investigations have uncovered Telegram groups openly sharing illegal images and videos of sexual abuse, alongside channel trading drugs, counterfeit goods, and violent extremist propaganda. These groups often operate like digital black markets, where abusive material is uploaded, deleted, and reshared faster than the moderators can react. Some groups are open to the public, or others are hidden behind invitation-only links that circulate on dark web forums. Gaming was once seen as a safe escape, a digital playground for children to create, play, and connect. But over the past decade, it's become clear that online games can also be dangerous, breeding grounds for exploitation and grooming. One of the earliest warnings came from within the Minecraft community, once celebrated as a harmless, creative sandbox. Minecraft's popularity with children made it a magnet for predators. Several high-profile YouTubers who built careers on family-friendly Minecraft content, like Lionmaker, with over 500,000 subscribers, were later exposed for having inappropriate relationships with underage fans. Lionmaker was eventually arrested and convicted for grooming minors, having used his YouTube fame and private Minecraft servers to gain the trust of children and manipulate them over time. Now it's Roblox, Fortnite, and Discord, where many of these behaviors play out. On Roblox, a platform with over 70 million daily active users, most of them under age of 16, predators have been caught creating private games to stimulate sexual activity, using coded language in chats, and luring children into private servers. These platforms aren't inherently evil, but when they combine anonymity, chat features, and underage players, and minimal real-time moderation, they create perfect conditions for abuse to flourish. Addressing child exploitation online requires coordinated efforts from parents, governments, and technology companies. Parents can support safety by monitoring online activities and using parental controls, while governments are responsible for enacting and enforcing legislation which mandates platform accountability through age verification, content moderation, and reporting requirements. Together, these combined efforts aim to create safer online environments and reduce the risks faced by children.